Chapter 2. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 spies secretly, saying, Go view the land of Jericho. And they went and came into the house of a harlot, whose name was Rahab, and lay there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in here tonight of the children of Israel to search out the land. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come unto you, that are entered into your house, for they are come to search out the land. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them. And she said, Yes, the men came unto me, but I knew not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. And where the men went I know not. Pursue after them quickly, for you shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had spread out upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way of the Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they that pursued after them were gone out, the gate was shut. And before they were laid down, she came up to them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you, when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites, and that were beyond the Jordan, unto Sihon and to Og, whom you utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard it, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more spirit in any man, because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above, and on earth beneath. Now therefore, I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have dealt kindly with you, that you also will deal kindly with my father's house, and give me a true token, and save alive my father, and my mother, and my brethren, and my sisters, and all they that have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men said unto her, Our life for yours, if you tell not this our business. And it shall be, when the Lord gives us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, Get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers light upon you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may you go your way. And the men said unto her, We will be guiltless of this your oath, which you have made us to swear. Behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which you did let us down by, and you shall gather into your house your father and your mother and your brethren and all your father's household. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and he will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with you in your house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand be upon him. But if you utter this our business, then we will be guiltless of your oath, which you have made us to swear. And she said, According unto your words, to be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until their pursuers were returned. And her pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. Then the 2 men returned, and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and they told him all that had befallen them. And they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord hath delivered into our hands all the land, and moreover all the inhabitants of the land do melt away before us. Okay, let's go back up here to verse 1. And Joshua the son of Nun sent unto Shittim 2 spies secretly, saying, Go view the land of Jericho. And they went and came into the house of a harlot, whose name was Rahab, and they lay there. Well, this Rahab, and this is one reason I use this book that I'm using, and I use the King James here too beside me, and I got a Strong's Concordance as well, because the spelling of the word Rahab, I can look over here in this Hebrew text, even though I'm not a Hebrew scholar and I can't read Hebrew, I know enough of the letters to be able to find the word in this Hebrew text. And then when I look it up in the King James Version, I can get a Strong's number, look it up in the Strong's definition, and I can compare these spellings to make sure that the translation is correct. See? And here we find Rahab. It's translated Rahab, but over here in the spelling of the Greek, or the Hebrew spelling, is Rakav, with a V on the end, Rakav. That's a V there, not a B. And when we go to Strong's, that's exactly what we find. It's Rakav. So, and that word means wide. And I mean, it's just a little thing, but I'm pointing out there's translations that could have been better translated or spelled that we could easier understand. And as well, this word harlot here. This word harlot don't mean she's a prostitute, see. And that's an error here we have, because instantly you get the idea that this woman's a prostitute. She is not a prostitute. What she is someone who understands God, but she has set up a little Malcolm in front of God, and she goes after it. And the Jewish religion and the Jewish understanding, she plays the part of a harlot. So they call her a harlot. You got to remember now, these people that live in this land, they are descendants of Noah, and they have the covenant. They had the truth. See, we're going to learn this later on exactly by the names of the cities and by the names of the kings and stuff within the cities. So believe this, that these are the descendants of Noah. They do have the truth, but they have took idolatry and brought it in to the understanding of God, and they are using it here, and this is why they call her a harlot. This is a major misconception, and we're getting ready to find out what she does for a living is she's a maker of linens. 2. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in here tonight, the children of Israel, to search out the land. So obviously the elders, of course this was the custom back in those days, that elders would sit at the gate. This wasn't just a Jewish custom. This was the custom of many, many nations. And the elders would sit in the gate, and they seen these men come in. Of course, they spotted right away that they wasn't from the city, or they wasn't even from the surrounding areas, none of the towns or the cities around this area. They knew that they was men of Israel. 3. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to you, that are entered into your house, for they are come to search out the land. See, because one of these elders that sat in the gate let these guys come on in, then he went and told the king, Hey, look, we got a couple spies in here. So the king, he sent men over to Rahab's house, and said, 3. And the king sent to Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to you, that are entered into your house, for they are come to search out the land. He's saying, Where are these men? They're spies. We want them. And the woman took the 2 men and 4, and hid them, and she said, Yes, these men came unto me, but I knew not whence they were. I didn't know where they were from. 5. And it came to pass, about the time of the shutting of the gate, she said, when it was dark, that the men went out, and whither the men have went, I know not. Pursue after them quickly, for you shall overtake them. And what she's saying, is about the time of dark, this was the customs, and back then in those gated cities, which this Jericho is a gated city, that they would, about dark, when you could no longer see, just before darkness, they would shut the gates and lock them to keep out all the enemy attack at night. And it's right about the time, just before the shutting of the gate, of course everybody would know about the time they're going to shut the gate, that these men went out, she said. She said, Go try to catch them. 6. But she had brought them up to the roof, and hid them under the stalks of flax, which she had spread out upon the roof. And she spread this flax out there, drying it out. Because, see, from this flax, they would beat this flax out, take the fibers out of it, and weave these fibers into linen. This is something they'd been doing for thousands of years. Flax was being used for this for thousands of years. And this flax is similar, and I don't know if a lot of people know, we see a little purple flowers growing along the side of the road. This plant is called lind. And from this, they make linseed oil, and they used to for woodwork and stuff. But this lind is basically flax. This plant's the same thing. And this ain't a very big flax, a plant. It ain't got very big stalks and stuff. So it would take a whole lot of flax just to hide one man under, especially if they was dried out. 7. And the men pursued after them the way to the Jordan unto the fords. As soon as they that pursued after them were gone out, the gate was shut. So the king took his men, or sent some men, and they've gone out of the city, because the gate's done been shut, so they've opened the gate, let them out, and shut the gate behind them. And we see here they pursued them unto the fords, unto the Jordan River, unto the fords. And the fords is a crossing place. It's a shallow place, usually where the river widens way out, and it gets shallow there, shallow enough that you can cross. Horses can cross, carts can cross there. That's why they called the fords. 8. And before they laid down, she came up unto them to the roof. So this is before they had went to sleep. And she said unto the men, I know the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror is falling upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. She said, I know all these things. Why? Because it was a great talk in the city. 10. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you, when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites that were beyond the Jordan, unto Sihon and Og, whom you've utterly destroyed. So the people of the city already had a great fear that they was going to cross over the river and come against their city. And they knew they had fear of God. Remember, they knew God. They was descendants of Noah. So they knew about the fear, and they was scared because God was sending this people in there. 11. And as soon as we had heard it, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more spirit in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and earth beneath. So they know who God is. See, they know who God is. And here their hearts begin to melt away, so they begin to be scared. And all of them were just scared to death. The spirits were going away from them. They didn't have the spirit to fight. Like God told them when they began to fight King Sihon and Og, he said, this day shall I begin to put the fear of you into men. And that's exactly we see what happened. Now, therefore, in 12, I pray you swear unto me by the Lord, since I have dealt kindly with you, that you also would deal kindly with my father's house, and give me a true token, and save alive, 13, my father and my mother, my brethren, my sisters, and all that I have, and deliver our lives from death. Because she knew they was going to come and destroy this city just like they'd done to Sihon and Og. She knew the judgment of God was coming against this city for the sins of this city, for the wickedness of the people. And she says, make a deal with me and give me a true token, because I've been kind to you and I hid you from these men that was looking for you. And the true token here is a way to repay me. And she says, save alive my family from this death. 14, and the men said unto her, our life for yours. We're going to trade even for even. If you tell not this our business, that we was here, and what we're going to do to the city. And it shall be, when the Lord gives us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you. So if you don't tell nobody that we're coming, you don't tell nobody we were here, we'll deal kindly with you and all your household. 15, then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the side of the wall, as she dwelt upon the wall. Well, and we'll find out when the men came in the city, because probably they seen that the elders had recognized they probably wasn't from there, and maybe a few of the other people, maybe their clothing's a little different. And they got scared. We'll find in verse 1, see, they when they turned into this harlot's house, they was actually looking for a place to hide. They didn't get far in the city. They turned in right into where the wall was. And she said unto them, get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers light upon you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterwards you may go your way. So she said, go hide in the mountains for these 3 days, because probably the custom in that time for a posse. That's what's went out of the city looking for a group of men, looking for the criminals, a posse. They've went out, and they're going to be gone for about 3 days. because this is about, unless they find him, they would come back earlier. But they won't search for more than 3 days. They'll be back. So stay in the mountain and hide. And the men said unto her, We will be guiltless of your oath which you have made us to swear. So you ain't going to hold us guilty of this agreement we've made, or this is the conditions. Behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this line of scarlet thread in the window which you did let us down by, and you shall gather into your house your father and your mother and your brother and all your father's household. Now we notice here that she's let them down by a cord, and this cord, that she's going to take a piece of this and put it in her window. Here it says the word scarlet. It should have been red. They used scarlet here because they thought she was a harlot, and this scarlet here kind of in reference to a harlot. But she's not a harlot. And this color here, scarlet, is, once again, it's a bad translation. This color here is actually crimson or blood red, because she's going to hang this garment, this cloth outside her window, this piece of thread, this piece of cord that she let him down by. She's going to hang it outside of her window, this red piece of cord, as a symbol of their agreement, as a symbol of a covenant that they've made between each other. See, as the same as the blood over the doorpost was a symbol from the shadow of death, as you're supposed to set the commandments on your doorpost to keep away the shadow of death, so was this scarlet rope hanging out the window to keep away death from her house. And it shall be, 19, that whosoever shall go out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with you in your house, his blood shall be on our head, and if any hand be upon him, So what they're saying is, it's really simple. Is anybody? This is the deal. This thread hanging out your window will be a sign. But if anybody go out of your house, you can't hold us guilty, because we don't know your family. And if they go out of here and we kill them, you can't blame us for this. But as long as they're inside your house, within this area that's marked to be spared, their blood, if something happens to you, will be guilty for this. 20. But if you utter this our business, then we will be guiltless of your oath which you have made to us to swear. In other words, if you go down around town telling everybody that we was here, that we spied out this land, that we're coming, then this oath ain't no good no more. So, and we'll be guiltless. 21. And she said, According unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. So she said, just like you said, and they went all their way, and she did just what she was told to do, put the line in the window. And they went, and they came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days, until the pursuers were returned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the posse looked for them everywhere they could look. They couldn't find them, because they was hiding in the mountain for 3 days. And they was probably able to see the posse running around down there below, looking all over for them, and they could pretty well just stay out of the way for a few days there. Then the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain, passed over the Jordan, and came to Joshua the son of Nun, and they told him all that had befallen them. So they got back, and they went back across the Jordan, back to Shittim, where Joshua was, and where Joshua sent them from, and they told Joshua everything that happened. And in 24, and they said unto Joshua, Truly the Lord has delivered into our hands all the land, and moreover all the inhabitants of the land do melt away before us. And basically this melt away means, hey, they was packing their stuff and leaving. Yeah, that's what melt away here means. They wasn't just scared. No, there was people packing away, packing up and leaving. And they probably seen this when they was in the city of Jericho. So the fear of God was done upon all these lands, as we see. That's exactly what God told them was going to happen. All right, let's move on. Let's go to chapter 3.